or other simple things in order to know how to co-create them. Whether it's feeding them certain things, having them have children with certain people, and so forth. Then you have this symbol. It looks like 2 triangles with 4 dots, 2 dots on each triangle. The 2 triangles are meeting. I think this is just the solidifying of their plan of having certain individuals create other individuals who they can very easily exploit because they're individuals that they created by studying them for a long time and feeding them certain things, causing them to eat certain things. I'm not going to say that was a very easy task to do at all if it was happening hundreds of years ago. So I'm not sure exactly what that symbol means. But I'm going to say, I don't know. This one's a toughie. I think it means... I think it means causing the individuals that they wanted to create and help create other individuals that they can accurately exploit. Build a plan with one another. Build an unstoppable plan with one another that solidifies the outcome that they want, and it's all of them actively choosing to co-create with one another. It's like secret societies being set up. It's like country clubs being created, like high societies where they allow rich people to meet other rich people that they already were going to meet, but just wanted to make sure that plan was in place, having some formality about it, that they can get the public's approval of and generate positivity towards, even if it means like installing some terrible racist president in the future who almost causes the end of the world or something like that, who causes the environment to get screwed up precisely and causes a shortage of microchips, or causes, I don't know, any number of things that can happen in the modern world. It's just them making sure that certain groups of people will inevitably meet, and in a formal manner, in a way that is approved of by the public, sanctified by the rich people, clout and money and everything. And hundreds of years ago it probably would have just been rich people at rich people galas, banquets, some kind of fancy party for rich people meeting other rich people that they sanctified with the acceptance of the public in some way. Then the two, I'm just going to say they're E's. There are 2 E's, one E's facing to the left, one E's facing to the right. I think it means precisely extracting resources from people outside their sanctified networks. It's them going around and capitalizing on the exploits that they created with making certain people meet with one another and procreate with one another and solidify a certain outcome for humanity, so that they can then exploit something that was going to happen as a result of that, which causes them to understand how to build more wealth. Maybe they cause a civil war because the people that they selected to build the future are total jerks when it comes to international trade, and they just cause civil war in the poor country that they go to collect resources from, and they're just getting rich off causing civil war, basically, because their solidified alternate human history is exploiting something that may or may not was already going to happen, may or may not happen because it's something that's out of their realm. The Satanists are going to work within their realm. They're going to work within a civilized country, the United States, and have their alternate human history solidified before they start viewing a place where they've never been and haven't been affecting anything. And they're watching the unfolding of events before they happen, and they're noticing that something was already going to happen. Then they're sending in their desired individuals to exploit that event and gain more wealth as a result. It's just basically, maybe it's them watching civil war happen in an unstable third world country, and they go in and they just say, we need your rubber, we need your palm trees, we'll pay you good if you do it dirty and just just don't give a fuck about the environment, and make sure that you enslave the shit out of the poorest people who work for you, and it's just some outcome, because they would have noticed that the Civil War caused instability in the economy. Then they would have noticed certain people just be very easily exploited because they're just avoiding other bad outcomes that may or may not were already going to happen, because they got to say civil war was going to happen. I'm not sure, I'm still going to say the two E's just mean them exploiting the world they created as a result of creating those selected individuals who weren't necessarily going to exist unless they caused certain people to procreate with one another, who weren't necessarily going to procreate with one another, who then went on to solidify their plan for humanity by building people who were infallible at creating their own agenda, which is what I know white supremacists have to do. They have to create themselves in ways that their agendas will never be infallible. Their agendas are done. Their will is done no matter what, because they created themselves that way for this agenda. They created their children in a way to exact their agenda perfectly and be infallible in that way. And maybe it's a result of them just knowing who should have children with who, and just making sure those people stay focused their whole lives at causing that agenda, because they're completely surrounded and absorbed by they're within their rich people society. They're completely cut off from society. They're in their rich people world amongst themselves, and they're continuously being reminded of what things are going to happen and what they need to do and so forth. So that's what I think the E's mean. And then at the center, this is very difficult to interpret, but I'm just going to say that obviously the I that kind of looks like an H, to me it looks like a microscope. It looks like something, but I know it's not a microscope. I know it's not an H, and I know it's not an I either that they're adding a little tail to. I think it's I think it's a symbol of extraction. It's the extraction of a desired individual from an alternate human history being sent into the matrix of another human history that they created that was completely different, and it's central to them creating a human sacrifice. It's why it's bold and black. It's why it's near the center. It's very important. It's a symbol of them. It's a symbol of them extracting a human from an alternate timeline of human history and putting them in a recreated timeline of human history that's similar to the world they may or may not were going to experience, and putting that individual in situations where they can cause the desired outcome for themselves with less effort, because they're basically recreating people and events that were going to happen for that person in a certain way, and just like equivocating it in a slightly different way that causes a better outcome for them. Like, let's say Jane is going to become a doctor. Then she's going to write a book about she's going to write a book about multiple sclerosis. She's going to make people understand what this disease does and how it can be cured holistically. That's going to cause an outcome, right? That's plan A. She's from originally that world. All the people that she was going to ever interact with, all the places she was ever going to go, they will know. And they will know everything she may or may not possibly do. This is I can't understand how this would have been done hundreds of years ago, but I'm assuming the shamanic rituals were very powerful and were being equated to technology in the future. So anyways, I think that it just means extracting a specific individual from their original place in human history, however they were created naturally, without Satanists interfering, and using them to cause the alternate human history that they wanted, and then continuously fragmenting down that consequence, the consequence of them, all the consequences of them doing that, and using it to study how they can perfect that process. And the keyhole in the center, I think, is the keyhole in the center represents time being circular, like them being able to go back in time at any moment and remember something crucial. Yeah, because it's a key, and in my mind, key means door, and a door to me means being able to cause stasis. A door has a key on it, and the key is locking the door, so you're closing off your environment, and you're causing stasis, and you're causing time to slow down, because in the Satanist world, atrophy is the speeding up of time. So you're living behind a door, and the door is locked, so therefore you're preserving yourself, therefore you're gaining time. Time is slowing down, so you're able to look at the past and the future if you wanted to, and compare it. So I think that's also what it represents, is them looking through time as much as they need to to cause everything they need to cause. I don't know if me explaining these symbols helps them meditate on them in the ancient past and cause all of this. It's a creepy thing, and I'm pretty sure if it did, they would have me explain all of this because they're hiding the fact that they were already going to do it with technology, to hide the fact that they didn't do it with technology hundreds of years ago, and we're just exploiting the premise of someone creating technology at some distant point in human history that they could discover by creating fake technology, and then inevitably studying people who talk about it, and then I don't know, just out of their own wanting to curse that person, condemn them and try to exploit them further in their next life, to just say that person caused it because they put the meaning on the symbols and they never put meaning on the symbols. But I'm pretty sure these symbols did have meaning. They weren't arbitrary, because this thing probably has been very old. So I'm going to say the bowl in the middle of the keyhole means them collecting itineraries that signify changes in human history, collecting pieces of human history that help them remember how they look at the past and the future. Remember how they watch themselves affecting human history, because they're watching it, and they may or may not be causing certain things to happen just by watching things. And so maybe they're collecting little pieces of human history, be it objects, be it relics of human history, random things that they can say help them remember what's going to happen. Then I'm going to say the two triangles at the bottom of the circle mean I'm just going to say it, like the keyhole itself very much looks like a phallus, with these two triangles at the bottom. And that's them having that mindset to continuously, have their consciousness flow out into the world, and make sure people are very convinced that everything is being done with alchemy in this day and age. But it was being done with alchemy originally. But they want to, just reinforce the idea that their brains are having a very powerful waveform as a result of having a very hard orgasm. But I'm not going to say that's what it means when it looks like a phallus like that. I'm pretty sure the triangles mean something. And I'm just going to say it's their... It's them measuring out how they apply all of these techniques strategically. It's them, because here you have the bowl. It's floating right above what looks like a counter. Then you have these two triangles here. Triangles, in my mind, represent measurements, because triangles represent angles. Angles represent measurement. And so these two triangles are just them maybe just measuring out their own techniques. Everything that I've explained thus far. The rectangle going through the center, which I said was the counter that this bowl was floating on. I think it means them knowing when to cut off their own awareness of what's going on, so that other people cannot notice them. watching what's going on and just knowing how to accurately inception people. Satanists usually do have reoccurring symbols that look different but still mean the same things throughout their dogma, and so I know that could be what it means. That's all I'm going to explain thus now. That's all I'm going to say now, because I've been dragging on too long. So I'm going to let it go. Thank you.